Okay, what is up, people? Welcome back to another stream. Hope everyone is doing well. So, as always, guys, if you are enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course, make sure you do go and hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Make sure you do check out the Elevating Traders Discord channel, completely free to join. You can find the link to that in the description below and also at the top of the chat. If you guys do want to find regular updates, you want to discuss with other traders, different opportunities with myself as well, check out the Discord. You can find all of that there. But welcome back, people. Hope everyone is well. Good morning, Ahmed. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're doing good. As always, we'll go through the DXY USD side of things first. Gold and silver as well, indices too. If you have any particular requests, any pairs you're looking at, any timeframes you're looking at, please let me know in the chat, and of course we'll discuss and see what is happening. But first thing is first, which is the dollar. So USD pretty flat since the week has started. Again, it's only Monday morning, so not expecting fireworks just yet, but we haven't really gone anywhere. So the key thing for me for the dollar is I'm still looking for that retracement. I'm still looking for higher prices because market's oversold. We've had a massive drop. We're taking up big lows. I do think the dollar is in need of some correction. I'm also seeing that coming to the weekly chart as well. You can see last week's candle, big wick to the downside, pull back up, close partly bullish. So that does imply that, again, that momentum we had a couple of weeks back is drying up. Possibly a bottom is forming for us to recover a little bit. So I am still looking for upside there for the dollar. You can see these are the lows that we've taken out previously. I'm looking at a couple areas for the dollar to pull back into 101.5, which is this area here roughly, or even just anywhere within the consolidation here. That would be a nice place for a short as well, which is back around 103.5, 104 roughly. So I do have areas which I want to see the dollar retrace to before I start looking for shorts again, because my long-term bias is still with the shorts with the dollar. I still do think lower prices are likely based on higher time frame price action. But looking more at the daily, the 4 hour, it does look like potentially a bit of a bottom is forming. This looks to me like an inverse head and shoulder pattern. You got the left over there, you got your head over there, and possibly your right forming. So I said in my weekly analysis, if this level can hold, I do think there could be a nice rally this week to the upside. And that could give us some retracement on the USD pairs, which I've been looking for a while. So I'm kind of hoping that happens too. But if this level doesn't hold and we do crack through, then probably we're going to see a bearish week this week and a push back to lows at that point, and probably new lows as well, to be honest, with the dollar, because the trend's just going to continue at that point. Again, if that happens, I do expect eventually us to still pull back, but maybe this is not the time. So key level here, 99.250, I'll call it. If we can hold that, I'm bullish this week for the dollar. If it does break through at some stage, then of course I will rethink things. But now I am still pretty bullish on the dollar. So taking that into consideration with euro, pretty much the opposite. So bearish on euro, looking for more downside. Again, similar pattern at play. You've got resistance over there from this level. Price manipulated that, broke through to the upside last week and crashing back down. So looking to see if we can respect that same level, hold as resistance, again giving us that head and shoulder pattern. So instead of inverse, it's just the normal regular head and shoulder pattern this occasion on euro. And of course looking for price to respect that and then see some more downside. Again, looking at the higher time frames, particularly the weekly chart. If I remove my drawings there, you can see last week's candle, big wick to the upside, again implying momentum is slowing down there with euro, especially since we've seen massive moves over the past 2-3 weeks there. Really big move. Looks like we're topping out here, so potentially retracements on the cards. Now, where potentially could we retrace to? Well, I like this level here at 1.11, and I like this area here, basically the whole consolidation, but I want to focus more towards the high, which is around 1.095. So either one of those areas I think is relatively healthy pullback for euro for us to continue. There's still a lot of momentum in the market, so I'm not necessarily expecting a huge pullback for euro. I think we're due a bigger one, but I don't think we'll get a huge one. So these areas do look good to me. And then, yeah, back to highs and so on and so forth. But we can speak a bit more about that when, we're actually trading close to those levels. But at the moment for this week, still looking for a bit more retracement. Had a lovely bearish move last week. What I'm expecting this week is a correction of that, perhaps a test of that resistance, and then some continuation. That's what I'm looking for Euro. Pound USD, same situation as well. Massive move to the upside recently, but we are struggling at highs. If we look to the left, massive level here, which did give us a pretty big swing when we were last over there. So as we can see, we're back there again. Again, for pound USD, I think there's more upside on the cards for this one. Longer term, I'm still liking the opportunity of a push back to 1.4. So I still think there's more upside to be had for pound USD. But of course, we're coming to resistance now. The market's a little bit stretched. I don't really want to be buying pound USD right now, not unless we get a decent pullback. And I'm looking more so nearer these levels. I like this level here. Perhaps we can probably wick into the 0.5. That would be nice. Or even slightly deeper around the 0.618. Nice consolidation over there. Resistance, hopefully we turn to support. I think that would be a lovely place to go long. And hopefully take it back to highs. But of course, first things first, we need pound to actually retrace, or at least retrace more. It has technically seen some retracement, but not enough to get me excited. So I did explain on my weekly analysis that perhaps this resistance here could be a nice short for pounds. A little bit more of an aggressive trade because we haven't broken structure. We haven't really formed any low highs really. We've just tapped into major resistance, seen a relatively nice bearish leg, and now we're kind of pushing up correctively. So there could be some shorts at this level here. I probably would be quite watchful over that trade in terms of, okay, if bullish momentum starts to kick against me, I probably will look to close that position pretty quickly because the trend's still up, momentum's still up. The only thing really going in our favor is that the market's quite stretched. We've hit a big level, so expecting retracement. But that retracement could come now, it could come next week, could come in the next 3 weeks. So you don't want to be too stubborn with that type of position. Or if this level doesn't hold, perhaps we move back to the highs and potentially form a bit of a double top up there. That could be a nice trade as well. Stops above the high. Again, a bit more aggressive still trying to call the tops on the market. That is pretty bullish as well. But again, it's justified. The market's quite stretched. We're hitting a big level. You expect us to see some retracement sooner or later. But yeah, I'm not really interested with the shorts so much with pound anyway. I like the buys, but like I said, that might take a whole week for us to actually get there. That's if we get there as well. But 1.315, 1.3 levels that I like to take this higher, back to resistance. Dollar CAD, bearish again on this one. USD pairs are pretty much have the same bias across the board, which is short dollar long term. But I'm looking for some short-term strength for the dollar right now. Again, dollar CAD seems to be giving me similar vibes right now on the lower time frames. Very corrective price action on the way down. We had a lot of momentum previously, but now we're very corrective, which is a key sign of the market slowing down, fatiguing, and potentially getting ready for a bit of a pullback. Not really seeing much momentum anymore, so I do think dollar CAD is likely to push up. I did mention on the weekly analysis as well, excuse me, that we might see one more down move. Price is kind of moving quite well in this descending channel here. I wonder if we will sell off before we do buy back up. So that could be a situation there for dollar CAD. I was speaking a lot last week about this level here, as this could be a nice level to buy dollar CAD from and potentially get that breakout. Haven't really seen that happen. We did see a few nice retests of this level. So on the lower time frames, there would be some nice buying opportunities there. But no kind of real big move, at least not yet anyway. And because we haven't had that big move yet, I wonder if we're going to have one more sell first, maybe before we do start to climb back up. But again, I'm only looking at upside for dollar CAD for retracement. In terms of the bigger sells, I'm looking at the retest of this low, which is at 1.405, and also the retest of this low, if the pullback is slightly bigger, 1.415. So I like the sells here of dollar CAD, still attacking USD to the downside. But first, I do want to see some strength in the dollar and some retracement for dollar CAD there. Aussie dollar, I like this position a lot, this market a lot here. I think there's a lot of room to the upside. Kind of choppy right now, consolidating, so the current price action isn't looking great, but I feel like if we can have a bit of a drop, that could be a really nice opportunity to pick up some longs for Aussie dollar and take this higher. We came back into resistance last week, didn't go too well, price didn't manage to break through, but there are some levels below. Should we come back to retest, I would be very interested in taking some longs and seeing how far I can hold into this position. Yeah, Aussie dollar, lovely momentum, is becoming very corrective now, so it looks like it was slowing down, perhaps consolidating. So I'm looking to see if we can push down first. That would be very much appreciated. Even down here would be very much appreciated, because that gives me a really nice position to hold from. But of course, beggars can't be choosers. But 0.632, 0.624 areas I'm looking at, even a break me test of this level here if we have just a big rally this week for whatever reason. I will be interested in pullbacks there as well. But Aussie dollar, the main thing that I'm looking at is this kind of anticlimactic sell-off we had a few weeks back, followed by a massive recovery. So I'm anticipating this to be a bottom here for Aussie dollar. So I'm expecting a potential reversal on the cards here, and a lot more upside longer term. And of course, that has helped with my bearish USD bias as well. So I do think there's a lot more upside to be had. So as a swing trade, I'm just looking to position myself in the best places I can find where I can hold onto a trade for a while, a few days, maybe even a couple of weeks, maybe even longer than that if things go really well. Ends the USD as well. I like the buys for this one too, just need some retracement. Again, we're looking very fatigued, very tired. You can see a lot more wicks to the upside, a lot more bearish candles coming in. So it does look like price is potentially forming a bit of a top here to retrace, which is great, because that's what I've been looking for. We've got some broken resistance, which will be turn support just underneath us. If we can pull back into that area, that would be great as well. Again, same idea as Aussie dollar. Looks like price is forming a bit below. We reversed that, a lot of momentum to the upside. So looking for a correction before we do continue. And a retest of that daily level would be a great place to find some entries. So just looking for a bit more downside for NZD before I start buying it back up again. In terms of gold, yeah, gold, I still like the buys, but being a bit more cautious because this has been a pretty aggressive sell-off. I still like this area because, again, we had a lot of momentum from these two areas. So the breakout of that consolidation and the break of the high here. We had a lot of momentum when price broke through, never had the retest. So I think that's still a smart place for a long for gold. But would I be optimistic in terms of holding it all the way back to highs? Potentially. I feel like gold is a good opportunity just to trail stops and see how far price can go. It might be a situation where price comes into the level, sees a nice reaction, lasts a couple of days, and then sells off against you. If you're trading a stop loss, you probably walk away for break even or a small win. Or potentially price test the level when we had another crazy run with gold and we push back to highs. In that case, whoop-de-doo, it's a big trade there. Or of course, it could be a loser too. But I feel like buys are still a good option. We did have that head and shoulder pattern, which looks like it's playing out. So I do think we'll probably still sell off. It's just about which area would be a nice place for a buy. I'll look at both of these areas, 32.20 and 31.60. I think they both look good, and we'll see what type of reaction we get when we get there. And in terms of silver, silver again a bit more neutral on this one. Don't get me wrong, I'm still long-term bullish on silver, but I just don't really have a trade for it. I did speak about price retesting this level here. Last week. Not really respecting it well, kind of dipping below there. Did close below, so I probably wouldn't say that's a successful rejection of the level. But it looks like prices are reacting with some areas of demand in the lower time frames here, and perhaps we could see a bit of a rally. But again, my main issue with silver is that we're coming into some major areas of supply on the left here, where we had a humongous drop, and we're looking a little bit tired now. We're still seeing a lot of wicks. The market looks pretty corrective. We have one big candle over here, but nothing really amounted from that either. So this is just a very corrective move in general. And again, when you're seeing corrective moves, especially coming into some higher time frame areas of supply or resistance, typically we do get a bit of a sell-off. So it's not really the best place to position yourself long for a big swing. Of course, if you're looking for an intraday move, that's something different. But if you're looking for a big swing, which you're trying to hold for a few days, more than a week, I don't think that's the best place for a buy. I'd wait for some type of sell-off a little bit, even potentially back to support down there. And that would be a bit more of a appropriate place to look for a long-term buy, because you're closer to bullish territory, not buying directly into any danger. And if things are not going well, it probably gives you some time to get out of the way of things as well. But yeah, from an intraday perspective, I feel like there could be a bit of a rally here for silver, but yeah, we do have a lot of resistance and supply above us, so I would watch out as we come back to highs. Again, I could be wrong. Maybe we do fly to the upside, but it's just not a smart place for me to buy silver and hold on to a longer position there. Good morning, Matt. Welcome to the stream. What's up, Joe? Good morning, Ivan. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. What's up, Godfrey? Good morning. Good morning. My weekend was good. Thank you. How was your weekend? Pound NZD, of course, we'll take a look. Ahmed ends the USD 30-minute time frame. Okay, we'll have a look. Pound CAD. Okay, we'll have a look at that as well. Pound CAD is looking interesting. See if I can find some entries for that one. It's on the watch list, so I'll definitely go through that. But first, I'll take a look at NZD. No, I'll go through Pound NZD for Godfrey. Then we'll go through NZD, USD, and Pound CAD. And of course, guys, if there is a particular time frame you want me to look at, let me know as well. But yeah, for Pound NZD, I actually really like this one. I think there's a really big move to the downside for it, so I am very intrigued about getting involved in that move. At the moment, it's still in bullish territory. You can see on the weekly chart, the trend's still very much up. But I do feel like we're coming to a top soon, especially with how we reacted that last kind of few weeks. Really strong up move, came back down really hard. I feel like this potentially could be a bit of a top. Again, it might just be a retracement, a bigger retracement, and then we fly back up again. That could be the case, but I do feel like we are running out of steam a little bit. But as we drop to the daily chart, you can see if we look to the left, price came back into this lovely little range here where we stalled for a few days before we had a lovely breakout. Price has just come back to retest that. So a lovely level there for a buy. I like the price action because we were very tired going into it. It wasn't like we were selling off very heavily. We had a big sell, but price lost a lot of that momentum on the way down, became pretty corrective, and then we had some wicks as well. So it was a nice sign that price was struggling to break support, and we're probably more likely to see a push up rather than suddenly a push through the level. So now that we have seen a lovely bullish move this morning, I'm looking for a bit more upside, but I'm only expecting this to be a retracement, a correction for us to continue selling off, and that's the move I'm very interested in for Pound NZD. Basically, I'm looking for price to come back into resistance around here, 2.265, 2.27, anywhere around there really. I will be happy to look for a lower high to form, and then yeah, expecting price to push down. I'm looking at this as a bit of a double top, and now I'm trying to find where that first low high is going to be for the next big sell. So yeah, Pound NZD, I think in terms of intraday opportunities, I think buys are still looking good. I don't think the sales probably come around until at least another week because we need to get there first, react. So I feel like I probably won't be shorting this for at least another week. I think if you're on the lower time frame, so like hourly and below, I like the looks of the buy still. We are kind of reversing this bearish trend, breaking structure, leaving behind some nice bullish opportunities. If price can slowly push back down, retest some areas, could be some nice intraday buys to take this higher as well. So at the moment, I do think a bit more upside is still on the cards for Pound NZD. A lovely rejection from that support level. A lot of momentum this morning. I do feel like Pound NZD has room to the upside here. So I'll be focusing on some pullbacks on the intraday level. But the bigger swing, I still think it's with the sellers with this one. So this is really what I'm getting ready for. But again, that might take at least a week to form. So take that into consideration. But that's kind of what I'm looking at for Pound NZD. We'll take a look at NZD/USD on the 30-minute time frame next. What's up, CS Integrated? Welcome to the stream, man. Hope you're well. What's up, Sultan? Good morning. Good morning. Hope you're doing good. So ends the USD 30-minute chart. So this is basically what I'm looking on the 4-hour chart. So this is the bigger move I'm interested in. Looking for the retest of this daily level here, pullback, retest. Bob's your uncle. Hopefully we have a nice swing to the upside. I'm looking at this as a bottom. So basically looking for the first higher low, because we created new lows here just about spiking through that low just, and now we've had this sensational rally. So now I'm looking for that first correction for the continuation. That's all I'm trying to take advantage of. And it looks like not pound NZD, sorry. Looks like NZD is running out a bit of steam. So from a higher time frame perspective, looking for a correction for a buy. On the 30-minute chart, this is a nice place for the buyers. You can see a lot of support in this area, so I would not be looking to sell at these prices, but I still do like the lower highs. Market created the high over there, sold off, lower high over there, sold off, lower high over there-ish, sold off again. Potential lower high here and sold off, but I feel like we might push past that and then put another lower high in and then sell off again, kind of continuing this sort of rough trend line there. So yeah, with NZUSD in the 30-minute chart, it does look like price is slowly rolling over. So I probably would wait for another up move back into resistance, maybe some type of double top to form, a lot of wicks. You know, at least some signs showing to me that, okay, this looks like a potentially a lower high could be forming here. And that could be a really nice trade for another sell, back into relatively the same place, back into support, or potentially might go further as well. But this is an uptrend that looks like it's running out of steam, so I'll be more focused with the buy with the sells here. But I need price to get back to this kind of area first before I can start shorting it. At the moment, this is still support. We're reacting pretty strongly off this level at the moment, but yeah, I'm more interested with the sells. If price suddenly breaks through that with a lot of momentum, I stand corrected, probably we're going to swing back to the highs at that point. But I like the opportunity for a lower high to form here and some sells off the back of that. And that could be the start of a nice retracement. So potentially could hold into that trade for quite some time, and the risk reward looks pretty good. But that's what I'm interested for NZUSD longer term. Okay, so next up we go through pound CAD. Matt, same plan with pound NZD. Okay, nice. Yeah, I remember you said you went long on Friday and 4-hour close, buy to sell scenario. Nice. Yeah, I like the entry. Really nice location for the trade as well, coming off that daily level, and a nice reaction this morning as well. So things are looking pretty bullish. So I like the bullish opportunity there. I think the sells is where the bigger move is at. So that's what I'm waiting for. But at the moment, pound NZD is looking pretty healthy. So hopefully we can continue to rally. Hopefully we have a pretty big push to the upside actually, because I like a bigger retracement. So the sells can hit it a little bit harder. But yeah, pound NZD, I do like the overall kind of price action there. If I can look at a chart and kind of understand what I expect price to do, of course, I won't be right all the time, of course not. But if I can look at a chart and just have a good understanding of what I expect price to do, and it looks like a likely outcome, that to me is a chart that I want to be focused on. If I look at a chart and I have to squint, tilt my head, and really kind of wrap my mind around the price action, it means the chart is probably not quite ready yet for me to be looking to trade, because I'm working a little bit too hard to spot an opportunity. It should be relatively quickly and should be quite clear to you. Of course, if you're a beginner, then that's probably not the case. You develop the experience, but if you've got a bit of experience, especially with a style of trading, you shouldn't be working too hard to try and spot a trade. If it is, it's probably not a good one. So yeah, pound CAD, this is an opportunity which I'm looking for some sells. Sort of similar situation with pound NZD, although I think pound NZD is slightly a better setup though. A similar situation in terms of we've been in a long-term uptrend. I think the market's really corrective now. It isn't necessarily a healthy uptrend as well. It's not like we've seen lovely bullish swings like a yen pair would do. It's very kind of corrective, grinding higher. So I do think this is going to sell off at some point, whether it will be this swing or the next swing or even the swing after that. And it probably will be a pretty hard move. So I'm very interested in it and looking to capitalize on that. And the fact that we've taken out some major highs on the weekly chart not too long ago, I feel like this is a good time to potentially form that top and roll over. So I've been looking for a lower high to form for pound CAD. We've had, of course, initially one over there, a lovely sell-off, forming that low. Then we had another high over here, lovely sell-off, forming that low. Now we've pushed up pretty strongly, pretty impulsively, but we're becoming a lot more corrective now. And a strong sell there, correct to move back up again, strong sell there, correct to move back up again. I'm looking to see if price can push back into resistance, respect it again, and then I look to take a short and stop loss above the high. I like where we're trading. There's some nice confluence around the market here. So hopefully if I can see a solid rejection like we got last time, I'll be more than happy to find some entries here, stops above the high, with the idea that, okay, if this is going to be a lower high, well, the risk reward looks very, very intriguing. You know, push back to the swing low here. That looks like a great trade in itself. But again, we potentially could go further than that as well if this is going to be a high. So it's the opportunity for a bigger winner, so which I like. So yeah, pound CAD, very interested in the shorts here. Of course, if price goes in storms and keeps up that momentum and breaks through this and closes strongly, like something like that in the 4-hour chart, then I'll be a little bit more relaxed in terms of shorting it. I would back away completely if we break through the high here on the left, because at that point we're breaking structure, and I'll expect us to push back to the high at that point. So I'll probably expect new highs to form, and then maybe some other counter trend setup later on might be the one. So I do not want to see price take out this high. To be honest, I don't want to see price take out this area of confluence here. So I do want price to respect that. So a strong rejection in around this area is what I'm banking on if I'm going to find a trade. If price does rally through that, then I'll back away. Then yeah, if we go and take out the high, I'll just be a bit more neutral and just keep an eye out on the pair. But a nice area of confluence at the moment. I believe we're rejecting 0.786 very well too. So I whip out the fib from the high to the low. You can see 0.786 running through that zone there too. So there's a lot of confluence here. If you can respect it well, I do like the idea of shorting pound CAD. But yeah, not quite ready yet. Not quite ready yet. Chirag, CAD Chef, yes, we will take a look at that. Hope you're well. Just my humble opinion, DXY is not weak like 2 weeks ago. There are upside strength short term. Yeah, I agree. It's my humble opinion too. See, it's integrated. I think dollar has had a really big sell over the past few weeks, but recently, the past week or two, we're kind of drying up now. We're drying up a little bit, and I do think upside in the dollar is coming into play. I'm still long-term bearish on USD, but I do feel like there's some upside in the dollar in store for us. And I'm anticipating probably this week that we do see some strength. Good morning, Dark Sean. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Naz and GJ, 5-minute time frame. Of course, we'll have a look. Matt, 100%. All we can do is build the evidence and execute with conviction. Of course, if people don't have either, it's not market to be trading at the time. Yeah, I agree as well. If you don't have evidence or the confidence to execute on that, then of course you're going to be in a very slippery slope there. Because especially if you're a very technical trader like myself, and the only thing you have going for you is what the market has done previously. Because you don't have an edge outside of that. If you're using technicals, you have to have evidence that, okay, when this happens, there's a good chance that this happens, and you can base an idea from that of a good risk reward opportunity, and that's what you have to go from. So you have to have understanding of what your edge is, what you're looking for, and confidence to trade that as well, and knowing that, okay, sometimes it's not going to work out, you're going to have to take some stops there, and still having the confidence to execute on that as well. And that comes from back testing and just looking at your performance and studying that as well. Okay, so let's take a look at CAD Swiss, then I'll go over to DXY and GJ and Naz. So yeah, CAD Chef. So this one I actually like a lot because, again, all-time lows, I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, all-time lows. So I do feel like CAD CHF is going to have a lovely move to the upside at some point. I'm actually keeping a close eye on some of the CHF pairs, Aussie CHF, New Zealand CHF in particular, because again, they've created new all-time lows recently. They're starting to recover. I like the opportunity for some buys there, continuing that up move. I feel like CAD CHF hasn't really joined the party yet. We had a slight push to the upside. I think this was last week. No, the week before, sorry. Last week, we kind of had this corrective behavior over here. So I do like the buys, but the price action is not that great yet. Aussie CHF and New Zealand CHF look a little bit better. If we can start to build some higher highs and higher lows here, something like that, and I can look for a retest somewhere, then that's something I'll be really interested in for CAD CHF. Again, after we create all-time lows for, in particular, the CHF pairs, we do tend to recover quite well. So I do think there's a pretty big up move in store for us, at least back into some areas of supply up here. So I do like the buys here for CAD CHF. Again, typically I'm looking to follow trends, but in this case, I wouldn't, especially at new all-time lows. So yeah, I like the buys here for CAD CHF. The structure isn't really how I want it to be yet. Like I said, I want to see some higher highs and higher lows form first. So that's what I would be waiting from a 4-hour perspective for a trade. And something like that could look good. That could take some time, which is simply why I like Aussie CHF and New Zealand CHF, because they do have already some structure I can look to follow here. The same with New Zealand CHF as well. They've got some lovely bullish structure, which I'm now looking for pullbacks of to buy already. So the structure is already developed. Now I'm just waiting for price to come to me to buy it. Whereas CAD, I need a little bit more from it before I can add it to the watch list. To actually take some trades, but it's the same idea really. New all-time lows, nice bullish leg there, breaking through some structure to our left. So that's our first indication that, okay, this could be a bit of a bottom here. Now I need some development before I can find some entries. I mean, I suppose there could be a break and retest of this level here, but the breaker hasn't been anything to get my hopes up. We broke the level, but we've been very corrective above it. It's not like we broke it with a lot of momentum cleanly. Then I probably would recommend a retest as a trade idea, because we just about broke it and then we kind of correctively moved higher. That's not really a confident breakout for me. I wouldn't look to follow that. So yeah, something like this would be nice for CAD Swiss. Okay, so let's go through NAS and GJ on the 5. So NAS 100, this one has been pretty bullish in the past few days, ever since we kind of gapped last week. Well, we gapped again this week, but where's the gap? Yeah, the gap over there. I was expecting price to fill it. We didn't get a massive rally, and haven't really looked at turning around since then. I've been expecting to see if price can hold resistance on the 4-hour chart. Doesn't look like we're doing that so far. It looks like on the 5-minute chart, price is about to fill this gap, or has it already done that? More or less done it. I mean, depends how you draw the gap. If you draw it from there, it's more or less done it. If you draw it from where we opened, then still a bit of room to the upside. But judging price anyway, it does look like we probably will make our way back to resistance anyway. So I think the entirety of the gap will fill most likely too. So yeah, with NAS 100 5-minute chart, I do think we're likely to push back into resistance. There could be some nice sells up there once the gap is filled. Sometimes you have a reaction after that. But I still like the idea for a buy. Let's say if price was to push back down again, the opportunity for a higher low to form would be nice. Even back down into some areas of demand there. Another higher low, kind of continue with this pattern. That would be a nice buy back into resistance and maybe a new high as well. If we push there first, then maybe we can start speaking about some shorts again to take this back down, because it is still corrective. So I do think shorts do look good, but I'd wait for price to be right at the high first so I can position my stop loss above the high too, and get myself in a nice safe place. But at the moment, if we sell off from here, I do think there's still an upside for us to fulfill before we can speak about some shorts later on. So that's kind of where I'm at with NAS on the 5-minute chart. Pound yen 5 minutes. What's going on here on the 5? So we've had the lovely breakout. I'm still looking to sell pound yen. That's more to do with the 4-hour chart, which we can take a look at in a moment. But from a 5-minute perspective, it does look like price is likely to push back into resistance. Kind of a similar setup to what we've got going on with NAS 100. Formed a high, pull back. Looks like we're bottoming out and now forming higher lows pushing in. So I would suggest if we could have another sell again for pound yen, that would be appreciated. Another higher low, perhaps coming back into a similar area, testing that and then continuing, or even just retesting the high. To be honest, I feel like that would be a nice place for an entry. And then, yeah, targets back to the high. Maybe not the best risk reward in the world, but that's what I see price doing. Sells from the high there. I think you probably can get a decent trade, to be honest. We had a nice sell-off. The market is not necessarily flying, so I feel like, again, shorts from the high look good. Very much a similar kind of idea there to NAS 100. Buys back into the high and then sells from the high again. I feel like that could be a nice trade there too. Again, not necessarily looking for an optimistic reversal here, but I do expect us to have some type of a reaction there as well. So, yeah, pound yen, if you do pull back, I like the idea for buys back into resistance and then sells from there again. But for pound yen in the higher time frame, I'm looking for a lower high to form for us to really sell off. I do feel like this one longer term has a lot of room to the downside still. Again, I've been speaking about 180 as a longer term target. I'm still very much looking for that move, to be honest. Nothing's changed. We'll break to the upside, but again, I still deem this to be a likely pullback. We've got a nice area of supply just above us. I'm looking for opportunities to enter some shorts in this area and take price to the downside. And again, if it does play out, you're looking at a really nice risk reward, even just back to the lows here. You know, forgetting about 180 down there, even the push to 184.5 looks beautiful as well. So, yeah, very bearish on pound yen, still consistent with the lower highs. Like I said with my weekly analysis, I stay bearish with pound yen as long as we don't break structure, which in this case would be this high here. As long as we don't break through that high, I retain my bearish bias and I'm only looking to short it. I like the way we broke into the upside here, broke out that consolidation. Things are still looking good. So just monitoring price in this area for some shorts to take lower. And that will be the plan for pound yen. I forgot to take a look at the dollar. Let me go through the dollar. So CS integrated, I completely agree with you. I am looking for some upside for the dollar. I feel like, again, the market's been very bearish for a while, but running out of steam. You can see the last weekly candle close partly bullish. Nice wick to the downside. We've pulled back up, taking out some major lows to the left. So I do feel like dollar can retrace now. Again, we're not going to sell off forever. You know, at some point, we're going to see some upside, and I feel like it's probably happening. I really like the way we sold off as well last week. We were kind of very sideways, not really seeing anything, and then we dropped pretty hard at the week open, recovered that, and now we're back above the same level. So as long as we can maintain this level, I do feel like we can rally this week to the upside. In terms of areas where we could pull back into for potentially the sales to kick back in again, 101.5, 103.5/104 are the areas I'm looking for price to get to before we can speak about those sales again. But from an intraday point of view, I feel like buys off this level make a load of sense. But I wouldn't want to see price break below. If it does break below, then we're probably heading back to the lows, then maybe beyond that as well. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the dollar. Looks like a nice inverse head and shoulder pattern, left head and your right shoulder. Then of course, expecting the rally off the back of that. Rachel, what is up? Good morning. Dollar yen, Aussie CAD, no problem. We will take a look see for you. TJ, good morning. Hope you're well. Any thoughts on USD weekly break back in? Okay, I'll have a look at USD. I haven't actually looked at USD since Friday morning or Thursday morning, whenever someone requested it, because I don't look at USD in my personal trading. So I need to see what's happening with that pair. But first we'll go through dollar yen and Aussie CAD. What's up, Yusuf? Good morning. Welcome, welcome. Yes, I had a good weekend. Thank you for asking. Hope you did too. Hope everyone did. If you guys are enjoying the content, by the way, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. It does really help out. Hit the bell too. so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. But again, really do appreciate everyone who has liked the stream so far. So again, with dollar yen, he's been speaking about this level for a while now. Really big level of support. We've tested it a few times, seen really big reactions. We're there again. I do think there's some upside in the tank here for dollar yen. Now, I'm still very bearish on the pair, so I'm not so enthusiastic about buying it. I did speak about some setups last week. I did say if we can perhaps pull back into this area. It looks very similar to the dollar, doesn't it? The DXY in terms of very choppy price action, big sell, recovered it, and now potentially we could bounce off that and continue. And of course, it is a dollar pair, so you would expect some, positive comparisons between the two markets there. But they look very similar right now. So I feel like if the dollar can have that rally, well, dollar yen most likely will, unless the yen is doing something crazy. But yeah, I'm expecting dollar yen to bounce, and then again, liking the ideas of price coming back to this area here, 147, even the low up here. I think it's 149, almost 150. Pullbacks into that area look good because I do think, like I said, long term, dollar yen still bearish. I think we're likely to break that support level when the time is right, but perhaps we do go through a bit of a rally first before that does happen. And the way things are positioning, I think we do. So yeah, in terms of a buy, I would wait for 142.5 so I can get a stop loss underneath that level. Because if we break through this level, well, then I expect us to get back to the low anyway. So I can treat that as two separate trades. One here for stop loss underneath the zone. Second here for stop loss underneath that zone. If the first setup doesn't work, of course. But yeah, that's what I'm looking at for dollar yen. And then sells later on. But we can save that chit chat for another time because we're nowhere near that level. But yeah, just keeping that in mind. In terms of Aussie CAD, I prefer the price action for New Zealand CAD. I've got a better read for it at the moment. Aussie CAD, not so much. I feel like, again, they're both very similar pairs, so I'm very bullish on NZD CAD, and I can go through that shortly. But I'm very bullish on that pair. I think a big move is in store. We're about to get the monthly candle close in the next couple of days. I think, yeah, Wednesday we get the monthly close. So going to see how these monthly candles do close Wednesday. But yeah, I do like New Zealand CAD to the upside. So given the information, we probably will see upside for Aussie CAD as well. Again, judging this one on the higher time frames, we had a massive sell about 2, 3, 4 weeks ago actually, but it seems to be leaving a that's not what I wanted to do. There we go. It seems to be leaving a really big wick on the monthly chart. So I feel like basically we've come back down into support, respected it, and perhaps we might look to rally to the upside in May. We are becoming quite corrective now. I suppose as price comes back into areas of support, supply as well, areas up there, we probably will have a bit of a sell. But I actually like the idea that if Aussie CAD was to come back into support again, I feel like this could be a really nice place for a swing trade and a buy because we're coming back into massive support levels. Let me just refine that level actually for you because it's a pretty big zone, but we can just kind of keep it to this area. It doesn't have to be so big. So if you could pull back into that area, that would be a really nice place for a buy around 0.86. And that would be a nice place to put a stop loss and potentially capitalize on the big swing. In terms of what we're doing right now, I'm not a big fan of the price action. That to me is just consolidation. And, kind of rightly so. We're coming back into broken support, turn resistance there. We've got supply above us here. I feel like some shorts could look good as we approach this area if we can stay nice and corrective. So something like this, correctly pushing up. I feel like eventually we'll have a bit of a sell there. So I feel like that would be a nice place for a short, 0.896. And if you're looking for a longer term buy, then I like the zone here, but of course that's a way away. This not too far away. But not interested with the current price action. Very flat. We're trying to respect support on the left, but it's not doing a good job. So looking for a bit more upside, 896. I feel like some shorts will be looking good there. I'm not necessarily banking on a move like that. I feel like we might have a bit of a dip. Maybe we go for a bigger sell, but I'll be a little bit more conservative target just because I don't really know what the long-term move is for this one. New Zealand CAD looks a lot easier to read, at least for me anyway. Okay, so I'll go through USDZAR next. What's up, Samuel? Welcome to the stream. Euro USD. Okay, we'll have a look. Matt, heavy week news-wise for most currencies. Lovely stuff. Hopefully some nice catalysts. Most pairs seem to be running out of steam in key areas. I agree. I feel like after the moves a couple of weeks back or 3 weeks back, the market's kind of balancing itself out. It's been very, very volatile, so it's kind of like losing that momentum and coming a bit more flat to kind of even things out. And then maybe a news catalyst could increase momentum again and make things a bit more volatile. But yeah, we are a little bit more flat for a few pairs. A lot of dollar pairs losing momentum. Some of the cross as well losing momentum. And again, it makes sense judging how volatile we were not long ago. But correct, yeah. Hopefully the news can give us some added boost, because I think we need it. Especially, you can see Aussie CAD here, very, very flat behavior. But if we stay corrective, push into that zone, I feel like a nice sell could come around from that. USDZAR, and then I'll take a look at Euro USD for Samuel. So USDZAR, okay, so we did get that sell then eventually. I was talking about some shorts as we came back into resistance here, because I was looking for another lower high. We had one over here, lovely drop, another lower high there, lovely drop. Then we're looking for the next lower high, which was here, lovely drop. And then we've got the next one after that, coming back into resistance. Well, again, it's not confirmed lower high because we haven't created a new low, but it was a nice initial reaction with that wick. And I would expect us to still come back into support. I still like the idea of buying at this area here, because this is where we had that last ditch consolidation before price broke to the upside. We saw that humongous move. I like the idea of price getting back to this zone here for a buy. Again, not so confident about swinging all the way back to highs there for USDZAR, especially because we're coming from all-time highs and we rejected it pretty well, to be honest. So it's not necessarily the biggest sign of continuation for a trend, seeing price reject the highs as aggressively as we did. But nonetheless, it's still a nice place for a buy, at least for a reaction there, even if it's for a day or two. I feel like that would be a nice place for a buy at 18.4. So in my book, that would be the next opportunity. Unless maybe we push back to resistance and double top it, then that will give you a chance to find some entries for the shorts. But of course, if we just keep falling from here, then yeah, I think the shorts have definitely passed and gone in. So I like the opportunity for a buys down there. Okay, so we'll go through Euro USD. No problem, Rachel. Happy to help. So yeah, Euro USD. I am pretty bullish this one long term, but bearish short term. Same reasons as the dollar pretty much. We've had a lovely up move recently, but the market to me looks pretty fatigued. You can see again on the weekly chart, lovely spike to the upside for that big wick, but we're looking very tired right now. So I do feel like price is topping out and getting ready for some retracement. You got some lovely areas of support down here, which we could pull back into before continuing. And that's exactly where I do want to see price push towards 1.11, 1.095. Those are areas which I want to see Euro pull back into. There is that potential head and shoulder opportunity there. So you got the left head, right shoulder for some sells. So if you're looking to try and short Euro, I think we're still in a good place for that. You know, we're taking out some major weekly highs. Typically when that happens, price does tend to pull back, even just for a little bit. Even if we are going to continue. So I still think there's more downside opportunity for Euro USD. There's a nice level to short from. You've got the head and shoulder pattern at play there as well, adding confidence to the position. And the way I see it for Euro is that we had a lovely bearish swing. This here looks to be the correction, or possibly could be the correction of that. And then we have the continuation, which takes us back into some of the levels I mapped out on the daily chart there. So yeah, Euro, I like the shorts here quite a lot. think especially from an intraday point of view, if you're entering like the hourly chart or even lower, it will give you the opportunity to take advantage of that move. But yeah, I see that purely as retracement for buys later on. And that's very much how I see most of the USD pairs right now. Before I go through the yen pairs, I want to go through my watch list and share kind of what I'm looking at this week. I've got a few different pairs I'm looking at. Lebsy, yep, we'll take a look at silver, no problem. A few different pairs I'm looking at this week, some USD pairs, yen pairs, some of the crosses as well. So a nice kind of combination of pairs. Normally I'm either just focusing on dollar or focusing on yen this time. Few different pairs give me a few different opportunities, although there are quite a lot of overlaps, especially with AUD and NZD though. I'm pretty much looking to buy AUD or NZD. That's kind of my bias for those currency pairs or currencies themselves. So yeah, there's some overlaps there, but some nice opportunities which we'll go through shortly. I'll quickly go through silver for Lebsy, then I'll go through my watch list for this week. Is that correct? No, it's not. There we go. So silver. I am looking for some upside for this one, but again, I'm only looking at this kind of short-term point of view. We've got this lovely bullish channel here. As you can see, we've got the higher lows collectively in this area. I'm looking to see if we can push another one. Didn't really respect that level there. We broke through. I think that was this morning actually. We broke through this morning, so that didn't really help as support. I was expecting us to get a bit of a bounce there, but not quite. But judging how price is looking, I still think there's a bit of upside there for silver. But the reason why I'm not looking to buy it is because, number one, we're correctively moving to the upside back into some major areas of supply. So this is not really a good place to be buying, especially if you're going to be looking to hold into a trade for a while, like what I would want to do if I'm positioned well. I'm trying to look for bigger winners in the market, maximize my winners. And the best way to do that is position yourself in areas where potentially a big move can happen. If you're buying in areas like this, again, a big move can happen from anywhere, we don't know. But the odds are not necessarily stacked in your favor. You got massive supply there where we got a really big move. Markets already had a pretty big move in the first place, already seen a big buy. So what's the odds of us seeing another big buy? And of course, it looks like we're slowing down, losing momentum as well. So that's just a big red flag too. So for those reasons, I would avoid buying silver here for a long-term play and wait for a bit of a sell-off to happen. There is some support down here around 31. I think that will be a nice place for us to come into for a buy. Again, we might get there, we might not, but I know that if price does get there, I'll be a lot more confident with a long-term buy in this position than up there. So I'm looking for silver to come to me. Of course, for us to do that, we have to break out this channel. Again, it might do that, it might not. So that's why I'm saying buys still look good here. If we continue to reject it, I think buys back to resistance look good. If, of course, price does break out the channel, well, then I'll start preparing myself for some buys down here. But still, that could still take a week there, so it's not like anything urgent. And then, yeah, I can speak about some buys there for silver. But I'm still bullish long-term with this one. I still like the opportunity for a push back to highs, so 35. But I'm thinking maybe if gold still has a bit more downside in the tank, maybe that means silver still has a bit more downside in the tank as well. Although they haven't really been correlated that well as of late. I mean, technically they're both been bullish, but gold has been far more bullish than silver. And there's been times where silver's been sideways or looking actually bearish and gold's been flying. So I don't know how strong that correlation is at the moment. But anyway, in terms of buys, swing, I like 31. Intraday, I'll still keep an eye on that channel. But I'd like to see some strong closes, especially on the hourly chart. Let's see if we can get another rejection of that level and then a strong close. Doesn't have to be that big though, but you guys get the point. And then some buys there could look good. Or even if we can get back above that resistance, that'll be even better. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with silver. But in terms of my setups I'm interested in, Marvin, what's up? Can you share to us the Edge Finder top setups? I don't use the Edge Finder, Marvin. You need to go to Trader Nick's channel for that. So yeah, in terms of what I'm interested in, so pound CAD, I like the shorts for this one. So keeping a close eye on this area, 1.85. If I see a good bearish engulfing candle, strong rejection wicks, I'll be looking to position myself short, stops above the high there, and targets back down at the lows at 1.8. So that's really what I'm interested in for pound CAD. I think there's a lot of downside for this one. Market's overbought. Very interested in shorts for pound CAD, so that is firmly on the watch list. If of course I do see price break through that, I'll back away. Maybe we do get the sell, but just not how I envisioned it, so I'll stay away from that for now. But if we can respect it, I'm looking to enter some shorts. Pound yen sells, I'm liking this one as well. I'll probably say these are my two favorite opportunities for the week: pound yen shorts and pound CAD shorts. So pound yen we went through earlier, but just a quick recap: consistent lower highs here on the daily chart. Looking for another one. We're approaching a nice area of supply here at 192/193. If I can see some type of rejection here, nice double top, wicks, bearish engulfing candle. I'm looking to enter trades, and targets back at the swing low. You're looking at pretty good risk reward there, so there's a lot of opportunity there for pound yen. Euro yen, I'm still liking it. I think the price action is a lot better for pound yen, so I would rather probably just take pound yen, because at the end of the day, pound yen, euro yen, very similar pairs, although they've been out of sync recently. But I'm looking at the same move really for both of them. Yen strength coming to the market, swing to the downside. If pound yen just sets up well, I'm just going to probably just ignore euro yen and just focus on that one. But for whatever reason, maybe pound yen doesn't really form well and euro yen does. I'll take this one instead. But we have come back into resistance now. This is what I was talking about last week. Looking for price to come back into resistance before shorting again, because I can get a much safer stop loss, because we're out of the way of all of this noise. Push to the top. Now I can get a stop loss there with some decent room, and still look at a decent risk reward if I do see the sell I'm looking for. Back down to lows there. I'll probably even look to book some profits here as well. So I like the setup of euro yen. Just the price action isn't that great right now. I haven't really seen much shift in momentum here. So I'm looking to see if we can push back up again, maybe even push a bit higher into the zone and then see a strong reaction. That'll be something I will look to potentially trade if I can get that entry. But yeah, at the moment, a little bit fatigued right now, but very correct on the way up. So it gives me hope that we probably will hold resistance. Just like for pound yen, if we break structure, I will then move on from euro yen. So you got the swing high here, take that across. So this would be the high there, 164.927. If pound yen breaks that high, yeah, not pound yen, sorry. If euro yen breaks the high, then I would not be interested in shorting it anymore. So I'll leave it alone at that point. But we haven't done that yet, so still looking to short it. So those are the two yen pairs I'm looking at. Pound CAD. I also like Aussie dollar and New Zealand dollar longs. So again, same idea. Looking to sell the dollar, buy Aussie, buy New Zealand dollar. Again, speaking this for a while now. This looks like a low to me. I'm looking for a correction, then for some buys. So just waiting for some downside. I feel like that could happen this week. So definitely staying on my toes. And the USD, same situation as well. Looking for a retest of some structure down here for some longer term buys. Back to the highs and further. I also like pound NZD shorts as well. It's on the watch list, but I feel like this won't be a trade till the week after. So next week. But just in case, I don't know, maybe we have a very strong rally this week for whatever reason. I do need to stay on my toes because it could form. But 2.26, 2.27, looking for a lower high there. Basically like a big head and shoulder pattern, left head, right shoulder. Looking for a rejection there and then a big swing to the downside. So I'm eager to short pound NZD as well. And then I like New Zealand CHF to the upside. So again, if this one can pull back, form a nice high low. I like the buys here. I'm looking for us to come back into supply up there. There's some nice resistance here. We turn support. That'll be a nice place to base a trade from and put a stop loss behind. And likewise with Aussie CHF as well. Pull back into some structure, lovely consolidation below us. Wouldn't mind a retest of that for a long. And again, this one, I do still see a lot of upside left. I'm expecting price to come back and retest that area. So again, risk reward looking pretty decent. And yeah, I don't think I missed one out. I mean, dollar CAD as well. I like dollar CAD, but that I don't feel like will set up this week. I don't know, maybe if dollar's very bullish, it might do. But I'm interested in dollar CAD as well. And those are the main pairs I'm looking at. So hopefully we can get at least one of those setups formed this week. Maybe we get all of them, but hopefully we can at least get one. No problem, Lebsy. Happy to help. Matt's looking for sells on silver for short term. I see one more wave and down it goes. Okay, but we'll look to buy again around 31.50 if it does react. Okay, similar to what I'm looking at. Ahmed, what's up? Pound USD short thing we'll take a look at. Yusuf, euro pound on 15, no problem. All right, cheers, Matt. Take care, my man. Have a good one. We'll catch you later. Appreciate you coming onto the stream. If you guys are enjoying the stream, finding it useful, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe. Does really help out, and I do really appreciate that. Oh, shit, my cup there. But yeah, we'll go through pound USD. We'll take a look at the 15 as well. We'll go through euro on the 15. Of course, any requests, guys, any markets you want me to take a look at, drop it down in the chat. And of course, I will get to it. And of course, let me know timeframes as well. Predominantly, I focus more on the full hour, which you guys probably know by now. If you're new to the stream, then yeah, I mainly focus more on the full hour chart. But if you are looking at intraday, you want my opinion, I can definitely provide that. But yeah, pound USD, I am liking the opportunity for some buys. I know the arrows are pointing down here, but it's because I'm looking for retracement. Pound USD's hit some big levels, specifically on the daily chart. Massive level there, huge move to the downside. We're back there again. I do think there's a lot more upside for pound USD. I'm looking at 1.4 longer term, so I do think there's a lot more upside to be had. Buys look good long term, and that's where I'm trying to position myself for pound. But I do want to see some downside first, and I'm not keen on buying at current price, especially when we've got a big level just above us. So I do think, one, the market is quite stretched, it's likely to retrace anyway. So I do think some shorts on the lower time frames look good. I said if we can respect resistance here, this could be a nice place for a short intraday. Or if we do rally back to the high again, I do like the idea for some shorts there. Then if we can come back into some of these daily levels, 1.315, 1.3, I do like the idea of price getting back to these areas. Then looking for some buys back into resistance. And then of course a lot further, same thing for 1.3, back into resistance, and hopefully a lot further as well. So the idea is retracement first, buys later. On the 15-minute chart for pounds, I mean, 50-minute chart, I think this is also a nice place for a short as well. I like the rejection there as well. See, price got right back to the high. Nice rejection there. That's actually not a bad short there. Stops above the high. Again, not necessarily looking for a crazy swing to the downside. I feel like this could be a nice initial target for the trade, back into resistance there. If we go further, great. You can always look to hold on to, you can always look to take partials and hold on to some other positions. That way, worst case scenario, you still walk away for profit, but you're leaving yourself the opportunity to catch the bigger winner. But based on where I'm positioned, the stop loss above the high looks like a really tidy place there, because we just about wicked the high there. So prior stops here would have been taken out. Nice rejection. I think that is a nice place for a sell. If we go and break the structure, as we see a really strong break to the upside, something like that, then I'll be bullish on the 15-minute. And then I'll look for something like this. This is not a big break of structure, so I wouldn't look to follow that. If it was a bit bigger, like we really commit to the highs and continue that momentum, then I'll be a bit more bullish on the 15. Looking for some retest of these areas, or a retest of the high here for a long back into swing high and maybe even back into resistance up there as well. So yeah, I would want a much bigger break before I would commit to buys there. At the moment, this is still bearish territory. So yeah, that's kind of where I would be with pound USD on the 15. In terms of euro on the 15, I think euro's been pretty flat on the intraday level. Yeah, hasn't done much. So euro 50-minute chart, again, I'll leave that alone, to be honest, because we are forming lower highs, but at the same time we are forming higher lows. So there is a conflict there with direction. I want price to be making lower lows and lower highs, or higher lows and higher lows. I want direction, not consolidation, because then I don't really have too much edge in terms of what I'm expecting price to do next. On the higher time frames, yes, but 15-minute chart not providing me with much information for me to do anything here, really. Unless I just want to buy low and sell high, then yeah, I'll wait for price to kind of approach this kind of trend line here, and that's why I'll be looking to try and catch a bounce. Likewise with the sells there as well. That's why I'll be looking to try and catch a bounce, but that's not really the type of trade I'll be after anyway. But yeah, on the 50-minute chart, we're kind of squeezing here, so I'm expecting a breakout at some point. I did say in the 4-hour chart, I like the head and shoulder pattern that's forming. Left head, possible right shoulder. If we were to break to the upside, perhaps we might form that right shoulder, and that could lead to a really nice sell opportunity, perhaps in the next couple of days there or so. But on the 50-minute chart, I'm not really getting much information. I remember I had a look at the 50-minute chart last week, Monday, or was it Tuesday? Oh no, it was Thursday. Wow. And yeah, I didn't really like the price action. I said it was very flat, very messy, not really showing much direction. That's still the same case today. So yeah, Euro 50-minute chart, not a big fan. I would stay away until I start to see some momentum and direction come back into the market. Pound USD looks a lot better. Ahmed, holding pound USD sell long time. Do you think that it can drop till price 25744? Okay, I'll have a look. Good morning, Alex. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Okay, where is that? Oh, 257. Okay, that's so are you holding a short from here, or are you looking to short it to there? Or is that where you want to short it from? But no, but you're asking if I think price can drop back to 1.257. Again, I'm not a fortune teller here. I can't tell if price will get all the way there specifically. In terms of what I'm expecting long term for pound, I'm expecting higher prices. I'm looking at 1.4. I'm looking at price continuing higher, but we might have a big sell before that happens, before we do see that push. So I'm not specifically saying price is going to go higher now. We could correct 50% of this move before that happens. So potentially we can get back to 1.3, 1.29, maybe 1.28. I'm not so sure about 1.257. I feel like that would be a very big move. But again, I could be wrong. I'm expecting price to push back to 1.4. Maybe I'm wrong, and maybe price push back to 1.9, 1.19. So that's a situation as well. But of course, you're just asking for my opinion. And that would be my opinion, is that I do expect more upside for pound USD longer term. but I do want to see a correction before that. I do think we'll like to see a correction as well. But how deep of a correction? Well, the area I'm looking is kind of generally this area here from 1.31 to 1.29. Anywhere in there for like a healthy correction for pound USD and an area where we likely could continue higher. So that's my opinion there. But again, we could go lower. We might not even retrace at all, but that's kind of the zone where I'm looking to buy it and take price higher. Alex, yes, I did have a great weekend, my man. Thank you. I'm doing well too. I hope you had a good weekend as well. LFTJ, is that support on gold or just fake out? Okay, I'll have a look at gold for you. No problem, Yusuf. Happy to help. Alex, can we look at oil? Yes, we can. No problem. Yes, you're holding from there. Yeah. It's difficult because again, I mean, again, with myself, I'm always trying to get out of trades quickly that are not going in my favor. If I get into a trade, it's not looking too good. If I'm getting some red flags, I want to be out of that position. Especially, of course, if price is going to hit my stop loss, then, of course, I'm automatically taking out of the trade there. But if you're in a situation where you hang on to a sell and a lot has happened since then, I think the best thing to do is close the trade. But again, I don't want to make that decision for you. I feel like that's the decision you have to make because it's your account, it's your account at the end of the day. But my advice would be close the position because it's going to be very, very stressful just to hold that position as well. Especially if it goes further too. I mean, I do expect it to correct, but it's always a tricky slope. A slippery slope when you go through that kind of thinking because you're expecting it to pull back. Well, what if it doesn't pull back? What if it pulls back just a little bit, but you're expecting it to pull back further and then it starts to continue again and another rally happens? So I would always look to close a position and kind of mentally reset and go again because then you're just operating from hope and that's just not a great place to be trading from experience. But yeah, that would be my advice on pound. Okay, so we'll take a look at gold for LFTJ. If I have missed, I don't think I missed out a pair. If I have, let me know. If someone requested a chart and I haven't looked at it yet, let me know. But I'll go through gold and we'll take a look at oil as well. So LFTJ asked, is gold a fake out? Is that support on gold or just a fake out? Wait, are you talking about this level here? I mean, price is still holding on to that level, so I'm not really seeing what you mean by the fake out part because we haven't really broken through a level for it to be a fake out. So I'm not too sure what you mean by that. But yeah, we are trading at support. My thought process with gold is that I'm still liking the buys, but being a bit more cautious. I think gold is still very much a bullish market. When I look at the daily chart, not really any signs of reversal just yet. So I still like the idea of buying. But of course, I can see we've had a relatively strong move down. We're seeing some lower highs come into the market now as well. So if I were to get into a buy here, we're in a situation where I'm kind of just letting price do its thing and just trailing behind because potentially I catch a higher low and price rallies to the high and maybe we have a massive move back to 4K. So that is that opportunity there with gold that you don't want to really pass up on because it could be a huge winner. Or it could be a situation where you get into the trade, we have a reaction for about a day and then price reverses and goes against you. Maybe you stopped out for a break even or maybe a small loss. So I think the reward is definitely worth the risk for gold. This is kind of like a next healthy retracement since the drop here. And we'll definitely do it as well. So I like the opportunity for buys around 32.30 and also 31.60. Anywhere in there, if I can see sufficient rejection, a good entry signal, I'll be looking to try and take some buys and seeing how far I can take gold. Because again, it's still in that condition of momentum until I see some big red flags, which haven't really occurred just yet. I still like gold to the upside. So it's still very bullish, still looking to buy it, and those are the two zones I'm looking at. It does look like a bit like a head and shoulder here, left head, right shoulder. So I do think we will continue to sell off here, but these areas look good. So I'll see how we react if things look good. I think there's room to the upside from that area. Okay, so we'll go through oil next. Diana, looking for an opportunity to buy gold at 31.50 or 29.71. 31.50. So that's pretty much what I'm looking at here. Or 29.71, which I suppose is the low here. Yeah, nice places for a long. I mean, I probably wouldn't buy gold from down there because at that point, if it makes that move, then I think that's a nice place for a buy. But at that point, are we looking for gold to continue to sell off? Because that's a huge reversal there for us to get back down to 29.71. But yeah, 31.50, I'm all for that as well. I like the retest of the high too. Clean break, no retest. So I do think if we get there again, there's a good chance for a bounce. So I like that idea as well. Okay, we're close to. Nice, Ahmed. Okay, on the daily chart, so you're looking for that longer term move. Yeah, same here, Diana. Morning, Ben. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Big news week. Yes, a lot of news this week. Let me see which day. Okay, so today we just have a speech from ECB. That's at 2 p.m. again, UK time. Tomorrow I've got GDP for Spain, so that could affect euro. We've got Jolt's job openings for USD at 3 o'clock. That could be interesting for USD. Again, looking for some USD news to give us that catalyst for some USD strength. And then we've got CPI for Aussie. That's at 2:30 in the morning. That's on Wednesday. And then later on Wednesday, we've got GDP for Euro. That's at 10 a.m. Wow, a lot of news on Wednesday. GDP for USD as well. That's at 1:30, and core PCE that's at 3 o'clock as well, dollar-wise too. Then Thursday, Bank of Japan interest rate decision. I don't know why I thought that was next week. Let's see what happens with that one. We've got PMI for dollar at 3 o'clock, and of course Friday we've got our lovely NFP. Non-farm payroll 1:30, so that's always interesting. Maybe NFP could be our catalyst for USD strength. We'll have to wait and see. But I'd say, yeah, interesting week ahead. Anthony, welcome to the stream. Hope you're well. Good morning, good morning. What are your thoughts on Euro USD and NAS 100? Okay, I'll have a look. First, let me go through oil for Alex, and then I will go through those pairs. So oil, I still do like the shorts for oil. We did get that rejection, which I was referring to last week. Not much of a rejection. I mean, it was a nice wick. Price was looking pretty bearish on stream last Friday. We did eventually form a bit of a wick here, doji. We've had a slight push to the upside, but judging how you just closed there, it's not looking too healthy. It looks like we've had a big sell here, and this might be the correction of that for price to keep falling. The plan for oil has been that I'm looking at a higher low here, and I'm looking for price to continue to buy, continue to push to the upside back in 266, where I can look for some sells for a much bigger move. So you've got massive support up here, respected at once, respected at twice, even respected over there on the left. And this would be a nice place to short oil. Massive sell through that level. Haven't had a retest yet. This would be the first retest. So I like the idea of selling oil from 66, but will we even get there? Because we keep struggling to push up, it does worry me. The more we struggle, the less likely we are going to see that rally. And of course, if we do break through the channel here and break through that support level, we might get that sell a little bit earlier than expected. So with oil, I still like the opportunity here. I would still bank on price getting there for the sell, so I'll still wait for that. Unless, of course, we do break through this, then I would scrap that bias. I'll still not scrap the bias, sorry. I'll scrap the idea from shorting from that area. I'll still be bearish, but I'll rethink things of where I'm shorting from. It probably would look something more like this. So you got the support there, price break structure, and I'm looking for the retest of that. So there's your double top, there's your first lower high, and then perhaps we capture the second lower high in the retest of the zone, and that becomes our nice short that we're looking for. So that would be something I'll be looking at next for oil. And that would be the trade idea there. So break retest of that zone. Again, preferably would like price to push back into that daily zone. A lot more confidence there. I know sellers will be looking to jump in the market there as well. So that would be ideal, but again, the market's not always perfect. So maybe we do get the sell slightly early, but I would no longer look for the buys anymore. The fact that we respect it again and still struggling, not a good sign for buying the market anymore. So just focus on the shorts, whether we get the break early, we'll find a retest hopefully, and then continue, or if price does rally, great, fantastic. Shorts higher up, and yeah, look for the same move and back to daily lows. That would be the plan there with oil. Okay, so we'll go through Euro USD next and NAS, and we'll go through some indices as well. I've only been through NAS today, so I want to see what the other indices are doing. Anthony, good morning. Good morning. I already read that message. I meant to read Ben's. Ben, what's next for BTC? Do we think little pullback or keep sending higher? I mean, I like Bitcoin potentially back to the all-time highs. I feel like that's where Bitcoin's pushing towards. I would like to see a bit of a correction. I mean, we'll go through that in a bit more detail. Don't know why I'm going off my head there. Let me have a look at Euro and NAS first for Anthony, then I'll go through BTC. So Euro USD, I am expecting some retracements, but the idea that the bigger move I'm looking for is definitely buys for this one. 1.11, 1.109 is where I want price to get to before I start looking to buy the market again. Again, we've been very bullish. We're quite stretched. We're overbought. Very overextended. We've taken up major highs to our left here. We're slowing down, seeing wicks to the upside. So we're seeing a lot of red flags and reasons why Euro USD is expecting to retrace the downside. But I do think the bigger move is to the upside. So once we start to see some more downside, that will hopefully give me the opportunity to start buying Euro again, position long, and hopefully get into some buys back into 1.155. But at the moment, in terms of the shorts here, so the counter trend idea, I'm liking this head and shoulder pattern here. So you got the left head and then your right shoulder. I'm looking to see if Euro can push back into that and then sell off. And that could be a nice short if you're looking for to take advantage of the retracement. Go counter trend. I feel like that would be a nice idea. And then maybe next week or the week after, whenever it does happen, if it does happen, then we can speak about some longs when we're at some or some lower prices where it makes a bit more sense to swing from. But this is really the plan with Euro. Shorts for some buys later on. And I'm looking for something similar on the dollar, on the DXY. I'm looking for the DXY to push up. Again, we've got that inverse head and shoulder here with the DXY. So you've got your left head and then right shoulder forming here. If we can respect that, I do like some upside for the dollar this week. And hopefully that will give some downside for Euro as well. Okay, so let's take a look at NAS 100. Didn't mean to do that. So yeah, NAS 100 with this one. It looks like price is breaking through this resistance here, which is pretty significant because I said if price can hold onto this, then I do like the idea for some sells. If price does break through, then I'll be a little bit more conservative with shorting NAS 100 because the idea was, okay, I'm looking for resistance to hold. If it doesn't hold, well, that's not a good sign for the sellers. Again, doesn't mean we can't still sell off. You know, resistance can break slightly and we break it back down again. That can be a scenario. We could still rally for a couple of days and then suddenly sell back below it, and we can sell off from that. So that could be the plan, but we need to be back underneath the zone. Otherwise, this of course is now acting as support and could still very much send us a lot higher if we respect it as such. So if price can have like a nice big bearish candle breaking back underneath the zone, well, great. The double top is kind of holding there. We're back below the zone. I'll expect us to sell off. But at the moment, that is not the case. So I'll be a bit skeptical of that. I wouldn't, again, necessarily be bullish for NAS 100. Like I said, I'm still short bias, but it just means I have to be a bit more cautious now that we're breaking through resistance. I still like the idea of price coming back below and then potentially using that for a sell. That would still be a really nice trade. I still do have a bearish bias. I'm not quite sold with the buys yet. So yeah, if we can get back below, I feel like that would be a nice short. If we continue to rally and take out structure consistently, then yeah, especially if we take up the highs there, then yeah, I will stand corrected. NAS is very bullish at that point. I'll be looking at some type of correction here and a continuation, and probably at that point, which can be heading back to highs. So yeah, back to the highs there for NAS if that's the case. But yeah, I still like the shorts. Just want to see price get back underneath 19,200 to kind of confirm that resistance is still holding. Okay, so we'll go take a look at BTC next. Yusuf, please me because there's a recurring price action. I don't understand it. It happens a lot. Price I make an impulsive move and midway it will start to range. Then later on, continuing the impulsive move, should I consider that range to be a lower high? Not necessarily, no. That's just the market pausing before it does continue. So I think what you mean is when price will do something like this and then it will consolidate and then it will continue. That's just a pause in the market. I don't really look at that as a higher high or a higher low. Again, when I'm looking at higher highs and higher lows, I want to see price start to push in the opposite direction, maybe form some type of a small trend, and then start to push back up again. And that's what gives me my swing high, and that's what gives me my swing low to the new swing high. If the market just kind of stays flat, I don't really deem that to be a swing high or swing low. I just deem that to be a range in the continuation. Don't get me wrong, these are nice places to buy from. If we can come back and revisit, that would be a nice place for a buy. And then the thing is that pullback that gives us the retest would be a higher low for me. So that would be a swing there. And then I'll look at this as another swing for another swing to the upside. So that's one swing, that's a second, that's another one. I don't really count the range to be a swing high or a swing low. It's just the market, pausing, taking a bit of a breather in its impulsive move before it does continue. Sort of like that over there. Nice push, consolidation, then a continuation. Don't really look at that as a major swing point. Some people probably would map it out, but I wouldn't. I like price to give me a meaningful down move or meaningful up move for me to justify it being a swing high or swing low. That's how price moves when it's forming, trending aggressively, just consolidating before the move. Yeah. You see that a lot in aggressive markets. Like you would have seen that a lot about 2 weeks ago when everything was just absolutely flying. But yeah, I just deem that to be a range. That doesn't really qualify as a swing point for me. Maybe some people might look at that as a swing point, but it's too. There's no kind of distance with it. It's just push, pause, continuation. I want to see price move against the trend first for me to deem that as a swing point. Okay, good to hear, Anthony. I'm watching the resistance above. I agree. Market's still bearish. Yeah. No kind of major reversal here. Yes, we're breaking through resistance, which is quite pivotal. But again, it's just a slight bullish candle. If we were to continue seeing another big candle and we break through some structure, break through some more structure on the left, then as that happens, I will lose confidence, lose belief in that bearish bias. Especially if we take up the high here, then the bearish bias for me is going out the window at that point, and I'll just be looking at NAS getting back to all-time highs pretty much. But we still have this structure here, which is swing high, swing low, swing high, swing low, and we're still trading within that swing there. So I'm not going to get too carried away with this bullish move, because it might just be a situation where we do that. But of course, I will want us to get back below the level, and that would be my kind of signal that says, okay, maybe the sellers are kicking back in now again. But we'll see. What's the valid number of candlesticks to make the swing high or swing low? I wouldn't say there is particularly a valid number of candlesticks. You just want price to move against the trend. And again, depends how you're looking at it as well. Because, are you counting this as a swing? So from here to there, back to the high, is this the swings you're looking at? Well, there's going to be a lot of candlesticks there. If you're looking at more so the swings like here, for example, there's going to be less candlesticks there. But of course, these are still swing highs and swing lows, but just more minor ones. So there isn't really a magical number where I would say, okay, there's this many candlesticks, deem it as a swing high. You're basically looking for price to go against the grain, push away from the trend. So in this case, I would call that a swing high and I would call that a swing low, just because I can see that market's made a move against the trend there. We pushed up. I would call that a swing high and a swing low as well. I can see we've made a move against the trend, and I can see we pushed up as well. We made a move against the trend. This time we didn't continue. We actually went down and actually eventually broke structure here as well. Then also here, I would say we made a swing high and swing low. And this was just one candle, one big push, but still we've gone against the trend. Looks like price has come back to retest some support here. That's held very well. And then we've continued. So in this case, it was just one candle. But if I drop to the low time frame, the 4-hour chart, you can see a bit more clearly there. But again, it was only represented by one candle in the daily chart there. So there's no magical number. It's just kind of reference and kind of eyeing it and just practice as well. Going through charts, kind of mapping out highs and lows, seeing how price reacts and how structure breaks and trends continue. That can help build experience and build confidence. But yeah, I don't really have like a magical number which I would say justifies a swing high or a swing low, because again, you can get really deep pullbacks and get shallow pullbacks. They both give you swing lows. One's really deep, one's not that deep. The only thing with consolidation is that we kind of just stay flat. We don't really go anywhere. So that's why I wouldn't really deem that as a high or low. But other than that, if you see a move against the trend, that's qualified as a swing low. And again, you can get major swing lows and minor ones as well. Like I said here, this is kind of like a major swing low that the market forms against the high. But then we've got these smaller higher lows in the market, which are all still swing lows as well, but they're more kind of minor. So that's something to take into consideration as well. I think if you're starting out, no problem, Yusuf, happy to help. If you're starting out, just focus on the major swings in the market. As you become comfortable, then you can start adding a bit more detail in terms of the minor as well, but you don't want to confuse yourself too much in the beginning. Just focus on the major points where it's obvious to see. Where's the obvious turning points in the market? Well, that's where you want to start with. And then you can look at a little bit more of the finer details. But yeah, I haven't actually gone through the yen pairs yet. I'll go through the yen pairs yet. I have gone through euro yen and pound yen because those are the pairs I'm actually interested in shorting this week. The yen pairs, not so much, but euro yen, we're back at resistance now. We've talked about euro yen quite a lot, and Some people haven't been a big fan of the price action, and I understand why, because it is horrendous. But now we're back at resistance. This allows me the opportunity to get a relatively safe stop loss above the noise. Yeah, in this kind of area where, okay, if price does hit my stop loss, fair enough. Probably I was in the wrong direction. But it allows me to kind of sit on top of the noise. So if there's kind of back and forth and weird price action, hopefully I'm not in the way of that. And it allows me to capitalize on the move. If I am in the way, it's probably because I was just in the wrong anyway. If I do get wicked out as well and price later gives me another signal to enter, or at least I know I'm in the smart place where I don't mind re-entering. If I'm trading in here where I might have to re-enter 3, 4, 5 times and still not capitalize on the move. Again, I stay bearish with Euro Yen as long as price respects this high. And there's our initial swing high, which gave us that drop over here. Then we formed the lower high there, second drop. I'm looking at this as our third lower high for, again, another drop. So I do want to see price break structure. I don't want to see price do that. If it does that, then I have to scrap that bearish bias because apparently that's not going to happen. BTC, I forgot about BTC there for Ben. Then I'll go through the rest of the pairs I'm looking at. But BTC this morning looks pretty bullish. It looks pretty bullish at the moment. Do I think it's going to continue to rally? I don't know. I feel like we've had a really nice push there. So I feel like a pullback is kind of needed a little bit. But then it's Bitcoin. Sometimes we don't need that and we can keep flying. But in terms of the bigger move, I do like the opportunity for a pushback to highs, to be honest. I was a bit skeptical at first, but since we've had a pretty strong close in the week, I was mentioning that quite a lot last week. I said, okay, we've had a lovely move initially, but how do we maintain that on the weekly chart? Well, we did a pretty good job at that. Price didn't really pull back too much. It was a slight wick to the upside. So as long as price can continue that, I like the upside. I did speak about a retest of this zone, which is 88k. I don't think that's going to happen. It might do, but judging momentum right now, I mean, it could still happen, but it looks like we'll probably take out these highs first. If we stay corrective, then maybe it might eventually happen. But I would want to see a slow move down. I don't want to see price move with a lot of momentum. If it does have a strong sell, then it might be a sign of reverse for Bitcoin. Because what I've noticed is that if we have a strong up move and then price comes back down just as strong, typically that will then give us a reversal. Same to the downside as well. Similar to like this move, strong move up, came back down straight away. We continue down as well. You don't really want to see price do that. If it does come back down against the impulsive move, you want it to be nice and slow, not speedy. So if we could see a corrective move like this, that would be fantastic. And I think that could be a nice little buy. But the key thing for Bitcoin is that we had a very corrective move, price broke to the upside. Now I'm looking at momentum continuing. You know, this 92k area didn't provide much resistance and we're holding pretty well. So yeah, I think Bitcoin more upside, maybe do pull back. We'll find out, but I like the buys here. I'm not really seeing any red flags coming to the market. I think Bitcoin can continue. And if Bitcoin can get back to the highs, all-time highs, maybe that could drag some of the other cryptocurrencies with it. I know Ethereum not really doing much. We've seen some upside, yes, but in the grand scheme of things, this is tiny. So Ethereum still needs, I don't know, some type of crazy catalyst to get this one going. XRP, that one's looking a little bit bullish. Last time I checked, seen some upside, but again, it's going to take a lot for us to really get a big move going. We're kind of still stuck in this main consolidation. So I kind of still see it as a fluctuation. Another cryptocurrency, XLM. That one's doing something similar as well. Lovely up moves, been correcting down slowly. I think we've done 50% at least of that move. I mean, from the high there, we did 70% almost. Pretty big move. But yeah, it looks like cryptocurrencies are seeing some strength, but other cryptocurrencies not looking too good. BTC though, I do like. I feel like back to all-time highs looks good. Anyway, so I'll go through the rest of the pairs I'm looking at. So that does encompass as well pound yen. So again, pound yen shorts look really good. I actually like this more than euro yen. I mean, I'm looking at them both. I'm just going to see which one gives me the better trades. Because pound yen's price action is a little bit cleaner, I like it a bit more, but perhaps maybe I don't get an entry, so maybe euro yen might do it for me. But if I do get an entry for both of them, I'm going to pick pound yen. Risk reward looks similar for both of them too. And because pound yen's the cleaner trade, well, I'm going to take that one. But yeah, pound yen, if we can make our way back to resistance, that'd be great, or supply actually. We've got these lower highs previously, so 1, 2, 3. I'm looking for a fourth one. Coming back into this zone, which started that lovely move a couple of weeks back, or a few weeks back now. If we can get there, see maybe a double top form, that will be something I would look for, and then entries and stops above the high. Then yeah, targets back at 185, and that will be the plan there for pound yen. So keep a close eye on this one this week. That's pretty much it for the yen pairs I'm focusing on. USD wise, I love Aussie dollar here. I think there's a lot of upside for it. I just need price to retrace. It's being quite annoying in terms of just moving sideways. But if you can pull back into 0.632 or even 0.624, I feel like these would be great places for some longs. I'm taking it back to highs and hopefully a lot further as well. I do think we are forming a bit of a bottom here for Aussie dollar. So if that is the case, well, that should mean a lot more upside in the next coming days here. So I definitely want to position myself long with this one. Hence the USD, similar situation here as well. In terms of, we've had a lovely move to the upside. I do like the opportunity for some buys here, but just need a pullback, of course, back into support down there. 0.585, that looks like a really smart place for a long for me. Lovely move there, correction, higher low. There's your continuation, back to highs, and hopefully so on and so forth. And dollar CAD as well. I feel like dollar CAD might take longer than a week to play out, but who knows? Maybe we do see a strong bullish dollar this week, and things play out a little bit quicker than expected. But 1.405, 1.415 are areas which I would like to get short for dollar CAD and take this lower. Initially, there might be some nice buys to look at. I've mapped out this kind of channel here where we might see one more sell before a buy. If you're looking for some counter trend plays, buying the dollar, I think dollar CAD could be a decent setup there. But yeah, I'm more interested with the sells because I think that will be the bigger move. So I'd rather just focus on the sells, position myself well there, and see how that goes rather than try and find the pullback first for the buy. Sometimes I would do that if the buy looks really good, but dollar CAD isn't looking really good yet. I still think we might have a move to the downside yet. So even with that, it doesn't look like we're quite ready. Is that it for the dollar pairs? Yeah, I mean, pound USD looks all right. Euro USD looks all right as well. I mean, these long opportunities there look pretty good, but I think Aussie dollar, New Zealand dollar, dollar CAD look a lot better. So again, I'm not trying to trade all the USD pairs. They pretty much all do the same thing, really. Although they have been out of sync recently. So yeah, but I'm not trying to trade all the USD pairs. Normally, I just want to have one. If I'm going to trade the dollar pairs, I only have $1 position open at a time, unless that position is ready risk off and I'm well into profit, then I wouldn't mind getting into another dollar position. But I need to tick that box first before I can get into a second. So I'm happy with just focusing with those USD pairs for now. And maybe if euro sets up or pound sets up too, great. I can get into that trade later on. And then NZD CAD, I really like this one to the upside as well. This one looks like it's tiring, running out of steam as well. I feel like a correction is due. A very, very nice V-shape reversal pattern here. So there's your initial sell for a buy back up again. So that's your recovery. That's the V-shape pattern. And now I'm looking for price to correct against that to form a higher low and then continue back up again. It would be nice to see if we could get a push back into this area here, which is 0.812, and that's where I'd love to get long from, and then swing it back to highs. But I do think we can go further. Again, keeping a close eye on how the monthly candle's going to close this month, because the end of the month is on Wednesday. So if we get a close that looks anything like this, this tells me that support is holding very well. And we're likely going to see a bullish move off the back of this. I would expect upside. Not necessarily has to happen in May. Maybe May is bearish and we push back down into support and retest it again. But then maybe June, July, we see the move. So that could happen as well. Or May could start bullish and we might just fly off in May. I don't know. But this type of rejection, this type of candle formation at support would normally imply more upsides on the card. So that gives me a good longer term bias for the next 1 to 2, maybe 3 months. That May could give us, that New Zealand CAD could give us more upside. And if I mark on some levels, some targets, that would be the first level I would target. And that would be the second level I would target there as well. So dropping to the 4-hour chart, if I could see a pullback into this area, that would be fantastic. Position myself long. Hopefully I can swing onto a position back to resistance there. And then maybe there if things go very well. I probably would be taking most of my profit, 80% of my profit by the time we're here. So I would only leave like 20-25% to run to a big target like that. But if it runs, it could add up. So I like the idea. So New Zealand CAD longs. What's up, Kingsley? Hope you're well. Yes, I will have a look at USDZAR and Euro Aussie. Let me just finish with my watch list and I'll take a look at those pairs for you. So New Zealand CAD buys, pound NZD sells. So you can see I'm pretty bullish on NZD right now. Long term, I feel like NZD is going to gain some strength. So pound NZD, we're pushing up pretty well here. But I do like the idea of shorting this one. Looks like another lower high could form here at 2.26. We've got resistance there. We broke through it, came back below. Hopefully it can act as resistance again. And this will be a lovely head and shoulder pattern. So you got your left head, right shoulder. And then from there, I do think there's a big move to the downside in store for us. I've been trend to the upside for a while. I do think we're a little bit stretched. So I do think there's room to the downside for us to fulfill. And then, of course, another NZD pair. New Zealand CHF. I like this one as well. Pullbacks, more upside. Again, looking to buy NZD here. This one's just created new all-time lows. So I do feel like there's a lot of upside for New Zealand CHF especially. And Aussie CHF as well. Just coming back from all-time lows. This has a lot of room to the upside to fulfill. I'm expecting push back into 0.55. Again, looking for a pullback, a retest, then some buys from there as well. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with my watch list. Yeah, nothing else I'm really keen on. Again, some other ideas that I'm semi-interested in, but they need some development, and that's even before I start to consider them in terms of adding them to my watch list. So I'm not really going to go into detail. I've already got about 6 or 7 pairs I'm looking at which look ready. I just need price to get to a level for me to buy it or wait for an entry signal. Like, oh, I even forgot about pound CAD. Pound CAD I'm looking to short from this level here as well. So for this one, I'm waiting for an entry signal. If it can hold that level, if it breaks through it, then I'll back away. But if it can respect it, great. I'll look for an entry as well. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Kingsley, we'll go through Euro Aussie and USDZAR for you. Shirag, I appreciate it, my man. I appreciate it. If you guys are enjoying the content, please be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, and of course hit the bell so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. But thank you, Shirag, for that message. Appreciate it. So yeah, USDZAR, I do like the buys for this one. I did speak briefly about the buys here last week, actually. I went through it again this morning. But 18.4, I like it. Nice consolidation. We ripped the upside from this area. I do think this would be a nice place for a buy. I'm not so keen on USDZAR necessarily going back to highs because we already had a really big move. It came crashing into the highs there and we reject it pretty aggressively. So it's not really giving me a lot of confidence for trend continuation. I think just in terms of a healthy place for a buy, it makes sense to. We might see a reaction for a couple of days and then we might go and break through it later on. That could be the situation. But nonetheless, I do feel I can get at least a nice short-term buy from this zone. I spoke about some sells here last week as well. We did respect it pretty well. If it were to come back up again for a double top, that will give us a chance to enter there and place a stop loss above and take the short. But if we just keep selling off, well, then I think the sellers have left the station there a little bit. So you have to focus on the buys now for the next available opportunity. But yeah, buys from 18.45, 18.4 look good. I like the shorts from 18.85, but that's only if we get there again for the short. If we keep falling, then the buys look the best option. So that's kind of where I'm at with USDR. And in terms of Euro Aussie, so Euro Aussie, I think there is a lot of downside in store for this one as well. It's kind of a similar idea to my pound NZD opportunity in terms of, okay, Euro Aussie, we've flown to the upside. I do feel like we're due a pullback here. We're due a pullback. I feel like price is likely to come back and retest the highs here of this range. This was a humongous range for Euro Aussie, which gave us a humongous breakout, to be honest. And I feel like we are due price to come back and retest this. So I'm actually pretty bearish on Euro Aussie. I'm not really seeing a good opportunity to short it just yet because it looks like support here is holding very, very well. But I feel like if we can break through that, a pullback on a retest somewhere, it could be a nice little trade to continue that momentum back into that range support. And this could be a nice place to look for a retest somewhere. But yeah, I'm actually pretty bearish in Euro Aussie. I'm not looking for any buy opportunities. There might be some short-term buys as we come back into this area. So that might give us the pullback into the zone. So you might find some nice buys there. But I do think the bigger move is still sell. I still think the biggest move is with the sellers here back to retest the high of the range at 1.7. So that's my bias. So I'd only be looking to short it. And because we're directly trading to support, not the best time to be entering a trade. But perhaps we do something like this. Well, then yeah, that would be a nice place for a short, and still gives you a decent risk reward to work with as well. If you can look something like that, could still be catching a decent swing back into support there. Or even if it is just back into the low, don't necessarily have to swing it back to 1.7, even back into something like that. Again, that's a hypothetical low, but if you can look something like that, you can get a decent trade there too. So yeah, Euro Aussie, I like the downside as well. I feel like it's pretty stretched. A lot of these crosses, UN's these same boat as well. Humongous move to the upside. Recently, you've taken out some highs from COVID. So again, I feel like that's going to give us a bit of a reason to sell off a little bit. Again, these guys could still be long-term bullish. Perhaps we pull back into levels like this, find support and continue to the upside again and continue flying. That could be the case. Same thing with Euro Aussie. That could be the case in the higher time frame. Maybe we come back, get the retest, and that gives us the energy to keep pushing. Maybe. But for now, I do think we'll like to see the push there. And yeah, pound NZD looks the best to me, so that's the kind of the one I'm banking on. And hopefully you can see a retest of that level for some sales longer term. And that's kind of what I'll be interested in. Quickly before we wrap up, let me see how S&P is doing. So S&P, same situation as okay, nice Kingsley. Are you selling or buying? So yeah, S&P still kind of just about obeying that level there. So again, I still do have a bearish bias for S&P. I still think this is a nice place for a short. Not really seeing much of a rejection though. If we can pick up the momentum a little bit, that would be nice. But if we can maintain that level, I think the shorts still look good for this one. US 30, this one, yeah, not quite at a solid level. I would like price to be at this area before shorting it. And maybe we could still rally one more time before we get there, then short off, then sell off. But yeah, I think S&P looks the best right now because it's still holding the level very well. NAS is a little bit above it. Dow is a little bit below it. S&P is like Goldilocks. It's right in the middle. Okay, NSL, nice. Yeah, I think there's a lot more downside. Of course, you still got that support level to break there. So that's probably your main kind of focus now with Euro Aussie. If we can break through that support. If it does manage to break the support, then you should be looking pretty good. Because once it breaks through it, that becomes resistance. So you got a bit of protection for your trade. And now that door's kind of open, it should invite a lot more selling. And The next big level is probably 1.774 down here. So I would expect to drop at least to that area. So should be looking pretty good there, Kingsley. Hopefully we can see momentum pick up. But anyway, guys, we have come up to the end of the stream. I do appreciate each and every one of you tuning in today and sticking through the stream with me. If you have found it useful, please be sure to drop a like and subscribe. It does really help out the channel. I know I say it a lot, guys, but it does really help out. So I do really appreciate that. Thank you to everyone who has showed some love. And of course, hit the bell too, so you don't miss out on any streams or uploads in the future. Check out the Discord channel to Elevating Traders. You can join discussions, share ideas, find updates there. I'm there as well, so if you do want to chat and share some ideas, check out the Discord link. Free to join, link in the description and also at the top of the chat. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I will be live again tomorrow, same time as always, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. UK time. So if you're free, come say hi and chat with us. But thank you so much for tuning in, guys. Have a great day, and I'll catch you hopefully tomorrow.